Hello guys, namaste, welcome back to my channel or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Hi, this is Amisha Singh Chauhan, and if you're looking for something fun, dark and mysterious, then you're at the right place. So do not forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon so that every time I'm here, you'll get to know about it. Yeah. So today's video, this is going to be fun. I mean, I shouldn't say fun and murder at the same time, but I'm quite excited about this video. I wanted to do this and cover this case since a very long time, but I was waiting for a right moment, and we all know that never comes. So this case, today's case, is very intriguing, and the only adjective that comes to my mind is fascinating. Like, it has murder, it has makeup, it has a woman who's also a businesswoman, and it has history. It has history, it is history. All of my favorites. Like, I'm not saying murder is my favorite, like reading about them, talking about them is my favorite. So yes, I'm very excited, and let's move ahead. So this story, today's case, goes back to Renaissance. So we all know what was happening during that time. A lot of philosophers came, thinkers, science, art, music, everything. Like, the world was changing. And similarly, it is very much attached to Italy. So our story today comes from Italy, and it comes from a small city, Palmero. So among all of this art, music, philosophy, and thinking was a woman, Giulia Tofana. Yes, AQUA TOFANA, Giulia Tofana. You might have gotten from the title. We are talking about the same person and a makeup product made by her. So who is Giulia Tofana? If you ask me, I'll say she was this one brilliant entrepreneur slash businesswoman who established her own cosmetic makeup brand at a very young age. And she was really strong, independent, and might have caused a little bit of trouble in her world. I won't say a little bit, she did cause a really lot of trouble in her world. So a little flashback in history of Giulia Tofana. Giulia Tofana was daughter of Tofania di Adamo. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, it's Italian. And Tofania was executioned on 12th July 1633, and she was accused of murdering her own husband, who could not have been Giulia Tofana's father. We don't know about that. And most probably, he was murdered using a poison. Some of us say that the concoction or the makeup that Giulia Tofana was using to kill a lot of these men was passed on as a recipe from her mother. But then there are other journals which specify that Giulia Tofana was just a medium who was just distributing these products, these makeup products, and someone else was the inventor. We don't know about that because you have to remember that we're talking about the 17th century, and there is no evidence, factual evidence of this incident, even of Giulia Tofana's existence. There's no painting or memoir of hers. I literally tried to find any picture of hers, but I couldn't. Like, it's quite shocking that she was such a renowned figure in her time, and yet there's no painting of hers. Okay, fine, understood. She wanted, her life to be private. So anyways, like I said, some believe that the makeup, the poisonous makeup, it was Giulia Tofana who herself created it. And she had a lot of impression from the apothecary that she was so much intrigued of. She used to sit down and watch these people work, and she had really great knowledge about it. So this makeup concoction slash poison that I'm quite repeating and talking about was named as AQUA TOFANA. Yes, aqua means water, and Tofana from Giulia Tofana's surname. So AQUA TOFANA was Giulia Tofana's makeup line or makeup product that women used as a murder weapon to kill their husbands. Now, you would say, what was AQUA TOFANA and why did she create it? Like, why did she even think of creating such a product, such a makeup product? She was earning quite well, so she did not really wanted, or she did not really had a need to create a poison or a murder weapon. But then it is believed that because of her childhood, she herself saw her mother suffering because of an abusive husband. So she felt that sympathy towards women who had abusive husbands, and especially most of her customers and most of the people she dealt with, most of the women she dealt with were from lower class or lower status. So this AQUA TOFANA, it was a makeup. Like I said, it's makeup, it's concoction. Some people call it as potion because of all the chemical and everything else. It was consisted of lead, arsenic, and belladonna. I know it sounds so beautiful, right? Belladonna, like it's such a beautiful name. Well, arsenic we all know about. It's very toxic if ingested, and same goes with lead. And for most of you guys who don't know about lead and makeup, this wasn't the first time that anyone was using lead in makeup product. Like it was quite a common ingredient used in makeup. In fact, our Virgin Queen Elizabeth herself used to paint her face with lead so that she could cover all that scars she had from smallpox, which subsequently led to her own death. So yes, arsenic, lead, and of course, a beautiful belladonna. So what is belladonna? Like when I was doing my research, I came across this term, and I do buy makeup product. Obviously, I do buy makeup product, and I go through the ingredients, and none of the makeup these days have belladonna in it. Well, the reason being that belladonna is also known as murderer's berries. Yes, it's a toxic plant, toxic berry, and if someone consumes it, then that person would just die. Now, because of this same reason, it's also known as deadly nightshade. But people, again, in that era, in that age, were using belladonna. For what reasons, you may ask? It was for simple reason and aspect being that a 2 or 3 drops of belladonna in your eyes could make your pupils dilate and make your eyes look larger and bigger, which was quite appealing for men those days. Like, okay, people have weird tastes then. People do have weird tastes now, but let's not talk about taste, right? So anyways, yes, people were using it, but of course, nobody ever ingested it. And a right proportion of these 3 main ingredients made our AQUA TOFANA. Like AQUA TOFANA is such a posh name, right? So if in future, if you find any girl or a dog named AQUA TOFANA, you know who named it, like who's the mother. Of course, me. Like I really like that name, AQUA TOFANA. Whatever, I am just very obsessed with the name, and let's not talk about my obsession right now. So this AQUA TOFANA, initially she was selling it as a powdered makeup, somewhat like a compact powder these days. And it looked like simple makeup, you know, in a simple box, container, whatever it was. And these women, they would often keep it on their vanities, and the husbands or anyone like the maids, no one would suspect them, of course. But then later on, she went ahead and sold them with the trade name of Mana of Saint Nicholas of Bari. Now, Saint Nicholas of Bari was well known for his good deeds of helping lowly classed women and girls by paying their dowries for their marriages, and it was a good marketing strategy for, like, you know, selling makeup concoction which was also poisonous and used for various murders in a small vial bottle with a picture of Saint Nicholas. So obviously no one would suspect or doubt, right? It was cosmetic as well as it was devotional, so people wouldn't doubt it. People still wouldn't doubt it if this happened in this era as well. So anyways, there were like particular dosage, and 5 to 6 drops of it was enough to kill a man, like whoosh, obviously. But then she was very smart. Like I said, she was brilliant, she was smart, entrepreneur and everything else. So she used to train her customers on how to use it, like, you know, directions to use we see behind that labels we find in our skincare and stuff. So she used to direct them. So it was like 1 or 2 drops of it in wine, water, soup, or whatever, any liquid form. Now the thing is, the best thing about AQUA TOFANA is that it does not leave any odor, it does not leave any color, there's no taste to it. Basically, there's no way back of tracing it, even inside the human's body. Then now we have technology and science has improved, obviously, so we can obviously find the existence of lead, arsenic, and belladonna, of course. But back in those days, even after post-mortem, it was very difficult. Like, people couldn't find AQUA TOFANA or any sort of poison in the body. Like, she was that smart. Like, imagine creating that poison. And that's why she is also known as the world's most famous and successful serial killer. Yet a lot of us didn't even know her name like 15 minutes ago. So she used to train them on how to use it. So on the first dosage, the husband or the victim of AQUA TOFANA would show symptoms of a normal cold. But by the third dosage, he would start having diarrhea and various other digestive issues like burning stomach and things like that. So people would be like, the one who had these symptoms after their consumption, they would feel like it was a normal disease, a normal sickness because of weather or something. And also this was back in 17th century when people were dying because they just nudged their toe on the table or something like that. So they would ask for a doctor, and a doctor would give an antidote of a vinegar or lemon juice, something of that sort, because it does not look very poisonous. The symptoms are not so dreading that someone would be worried about it. Also, the second good thing about AQUA TOFANA, not for me or for you, but for the women, the one who were using it as a murder weapon, was that it was a slow killer. So basically, the husbands, the victims, had time to repent, and since it was very devotional and religious time, so these women, they had kind of a pat on their conscience that, you know what, since they're repenting for their gruesome activities and sins, so they might go to heaven. And it's a good way, like, you know, they're doing a good deed by also helping themselves and helping their husbands going to heaven. Also, another thing was that they had time. The victims had time to write their will, and they could see their wives in wallow and in pain because they were sick. So they had time to review their wills and most probably give their entire property to the wives who was the one who poisoned them. Sweet. So that was like really smart move, and I really liked the part that Giulia Tofana was so smart and knew about what could have happened or what can happen, and she was very preventive of it. Now this keeps going on for more than 50 years. It's quite strange that nobody complained or reported about this to the authorities, right? Now the reason was because the customers, 99% of the customers were women, were abused women. This was the time where in Italy women were seen as property and they were treated like cattle and, you know, thrashed and abused. The husbands had mistresses, even the mistresses weren't treated well. But then this was like a caged situation for them. They were forced into marriages, they had dowries, and the only way they could come out of this institution of marriage was not through divorce, because obviously the church would decline it, but by coming out as a widow. So obviously they turned into murdering their husbands using AQUA TOFANA. Hence, all the women, all the customers, 99% of them being women, or that 1% who were men, they kept quiet, they kept their silence, because they knew that if they are going to badmouth about Giulia Tofana, they are going to fall into serious trouble themselves. And hence, she did not get caught. But that's not true, right? She did get caught only because of a soup, like a bowl of soup was the death of Giulia Tofana. Such a twist to this interesting comical thriller movie. Yes, whatever. Novel, movie, whatever you like. Whatever suits your taste, whatever. Whatever. Why am I even saying that? Whatever. Oh, there was this woman and she goes to Giulia Tofana and complains about her abusive and cheating husband. And you know, it wasn't easy to get that concoction, to get that makeup. Giulia Tofana was very, very smart, like I said. I quite adore her precautionary instincts and her businesswoman mindset. So she would do a background check on these customers or anyone who approached her for AQUA TOFANA, and it wasn't easy. Like, they have to have a reference. One of her older customer has to be a reference and kind of a warranty slash guarantee for the new customer. So yes, background check and all that reference and etc. She gave that customer the AQUA TOFANA concoction slash makeup. Now this person, this woman, she gets kind of a cold feet. She does pour that dosage in the soup that she was going to give to her husband, but before he could even take a sip of it, she started being a mad woman. She started screaming and asked her husband to not drink that soup. And the husband was, like I said, very abusive. He started beating her and he got really mad and aggressive and violent on her and asked her why she was stopping him to do so. So she told him obviously that it was poisoned and it would lead to his death. I don't know what to say about this. Like, it was stupid, but it was right at the same time. I don't know what to say because it was stupid because it led to her death. So what he does next is he takes her to the authority, that is the papal authority. Now you would say, what is papal authority? So papal authority or supremacy is something like the Pope. The Catholic Church is the superpower. Like, that church is the one who's the head of the state. So they take her to papal authority where she is tortured and is made to name the person who gave her that makeup product, that poisonous concoction, which was Giulia Tofana. Now, there are various perspectives and different stories on how she's executioned and various steps like that. But this one goes along that somebody told her and aware her about the execution and her to be arrested. So she flees away from Naples and go to this church. She finds a sanctuary over there, which she does get, and she feels safe now. But all of a sudden, a rumor is spread across Rome that Giulia Tofana poisoned the water supply of the city and everyone is going to die. So there's this huge mob coming towards the church which had sheltered Giulia Tofana with, I don't know, I'm just imagining a lot of people with forks, I guess that's what people use, like, kind of a witch hunt thing. So they drag her by hair and start investigating on this. They torture her, they kind of get violent, physically violent on her, and makes her utter and give the number of men she has killed using that makeup product. And according to Giulia Tofana herself, she killed around 600 men from 1633 to 1651. Now her business goes to 50 years, but this time duration was only for 18 years. So imagine, even if she was telling the truth, that she did not, a lot of time people do brag or just want to give a number to satisfy the authorities to end the torture. But even if she was telling the truth about this, it states that within 18 years, she killed 600 men. So imagine the number for 50 years, like. Anyways, she was executed on July 1659 at Campo de Fiori along with her daughter Giroloma Spera, who was also known as Astrologa della Lungara, and 3 of the other helpers. Yes, so there were like total 5 people for this purpose. But there were others as well who were punished in various different varieties. Like some of them were executioned, like Giulia Tofana, and others were literally, I'm literally saying this, but they literally bricked them in the walls of this dungeon in Palazzo Pucci. And the others who came from elite class were strangled. So yes, that was some of them. The rest of them, they just pleaded guilty by saying that they had no idea and they bought the product because of its advertisement of it being a cosmetic and devotional object and product, makeup product, because of Saint Nicholas' picture on that label, and they had no idea that it could lead to the death of their husbands or whatever the victims they were related to, so they escaped. Lucky ones. Now, we don't know if this is exactly what happened. Like, some of them say that she had no idea that the makeup she was making, the concoction that she was producing, was poisonous, because again, belladonna was used on everyday basis by women for dilation of the pupils. Same goes with lead and arsenic. So it could be a possibility that Giulia Tofana had no idea. Now, the other side of the story goes that this was actually a witch hunt. Like, that was a time where a woman who was independent, who was her own breadwinner of the house, who did not need a man, was a witch. Because come on, how come a woman be, self-confident and on her own legs and did not need money from her father or her husband? So she was a witch. And this was a witch hunt, and it was a strategy that was well planned by the church and the community and the society to target Giulia Tofana. But we don't know. I mean, it surely does exist. There is some truth to the story because there is the story and there's a lot of journals. Another reason for me to say that is because 100 years later, around 18th century, Mozart, yes, I'm talking about the same Mozart that we all know, the composer. So on his deathbed, he said that he was poisoned with aqua tofana and somebody did it like purposefully, and he knows when he's going to die. According to a lot of historians, Mozart died because of an undiagnosed fever, and we don't know if it is aqua tofana that was used or some other poisonous stuff, or even if poison was involved. Like some say that he ate an undercooked pork and that was the reason of his death. Anyways, this was me telling you that AQUA TOFANA was real and Giulia Tofana did do something, but what exactly we don't know. And I hope to find more about her. Like, it's a very interesting story, and I hope you guys liked it too. And if you could find anything about AQUA TOFANA or Giulia Tofana more, do share about it to me in the comment section, or you can directly DM me on my Instagram. Bye bye, see you next time.